All right, so today we're going to do something a little different. We're taking a break from the usual data crunching and algorithm analysis, and instead we are going to explore some really cool acts of kindness and connection from around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and think of it as like a global tapestry of heartwarming stories. And we're going to pull it all from, you guessed it, X.
You know what's really fascinating about this? It's that we're actually kind of wired for this kind of stuff.
Huh.
Like our brains light up when we see these acts of generosity and kindness. It's almost like it's a biological imperative for us to connect and cooperate.
Well, that's interesting. So we're not just like sentimental saps. There's actual science behind this warm, fuzzy feeling.
Absolutely. Even the biggest cynics among us, they can't deny the power of a genuinely good deed. And today, we're going to dive deep into some really remarkable examples.
Okay.
And we're going to start with Mama Amina in Kenya.
Okay.
She's known online as the Guardian of the Garden.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What did this guardian do?
So imagine this. Mama Amina, facing a meager harvest herself, decides to share her last bit of food with a family struggling even more than her own.
Wow, that is incredibly selfless.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm guessing there's got to be more to this story, right? I mean, one person sharing some veggies, that doesn't exactly go viral, right?
Exactly. That's where the ripple effect comes in.
Okay.
Mama Amina's act of kindness became like a catalyst. It inspired her entire village to create this whole food sharing system so no one went hungry. It's a real-world example of how even the smallest act can trigger a chain reaction of positive change.
See, this is why I need you here,
Yeah.
because I would have just thought, oh, that's nice, and then just moved on, right?
Yeah.
But there's this whole other layer of social dynamics at play. It's like
Yeah.
survival of the kindest almost.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that capture our attention and inspire us, let's hop over to Melbourne. Have you heard about Leo, the street musician?
Vaguely, yeah. I
Right.
think something about like a kind gesture, maybe. To be honest with you, street musicians aren't usually my thing.
Fair enough. Well, I think even you might be charmed by this one. So Leo's playing his usual set when a young girl, instead of giving money, presented him with a heartfelt drawing of him playing his guitar.
Okay, that's pretty sweet. But people share cute kid drawings online all the time, right?
Mm.
What makes this one so special?
It's the impact it had. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of awe. The image resonated so deeply online that it led to a huge outpouring of donations for Leo, enough for him to buy a new guitar.
So the drawing itself became a kind of currency, like it tapped into this collective desire to support artists and see them thrive.
Exactly. It's a powerful example of how art can bridge the gap between giver and receiver and create this sense of shared experience and inspire generosity. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable gifts aren't monetary.
I'm officially warming up to this whole kindness thing, but I'm also realizing these stories aren't just about this feel-good factor, right? There's some serious social psychology at work here.
Absolutely, and that's what makes them so intriguing. Now, let's shift gears a bit and travel to Italy. I want to introduce you to Signora Rossi, a retired teacher who embodies the idea of lifelong learning.
All right, bring on the wisdom of the elders. I'm all ears.
So Signora Rossi could easily be enjoying a peaceful retirement, but instead she continues to teach immigrant children, offering free lessons in her home. What's remarkable is that her former students, they recognize her dedication and decided to repay her kindness in a really heartwarming way.
Oh, did they chip in for a fancy retirement cruise? Or send her on a shopping spree?
Better than that.
What?
They pooled their resources and time to teach her technology skills, bridging the generational digital divide.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful example of the reciprocal nature of giving and receiving, proving that learning and connection can transcend age and circumstance.
Okay, I'll admit it. I am starting to see the appeal of this deep dive. It's like a crash course in the best of humanity, but also like some bonus insights into why these stories resonate so deeply with us.
You're catching on. Now let's head to the...
It's like unintended consequences, but in the best way possible.
Precisely. And it highlights how even these seemingly isolated acts of kindness can have these far-reaching effects, influencing social behavior and strengthening community bonds. Now, speaking of communities coming together, let's travel to a favela in Rio de Janeiro, where residents took matters into their own hands to create something truly special.
Okay, I'm picturing colorful murals, maybe a community garden. Brazilians are all about vibrant self-expression, right?
You're close. But instead of paint or plants, they used recycled materials to build the Bridge of Books.
Huh.
A library dedicated to fostering literacy and imagination in a community where access to such resources is limited.
That's amazing. It's like they literally built a bridge to a better future for those kids.
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of collective action and the unwavering belief in the transformative power of education. It demonstrates that even in the face of adversity, communities can come together to create opportunities for growth and empowerment.
Okay, this deep dive is turning out to be way more insightful than I expected.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see these stories not just as isolated incidents, but as windows into human behavior and the potential for positive change.
That's exactly the kind of shift in perspective I was hoping for. Now, get ready for a story that will pull at your heartstrings. In Cornwall, a young girl, grappling with the loss of her mother, decided to send a message in a bottle.
Oh, wow.
It contained her raw grief and a longing for connection, a cry for understanding sent out into the vastness of the ocean.
Oh, wow, that's heavy. Can't even imagine the courage it took for her to, put her feelings out there like that.
And that vulnerability, it resonated so deeply online. The message was shared on X and created a global wave of empathy and support, with people from all walks of life reaching out to offer comfort and understanding. It became a testament to the power of shared human experience, demonstrating that even in our darkest moments, we're not alone.
This is what I'm talking about. These stories are like emotional gut punches, but in a good way,
Yeah.
They make you reevaluate your priorities and appreciate the simple things. Okay, hit me with another one. Let's see what other hidden gems you've uncovered in the depths of X.
All right, let's travel to Japan, where a man's simple act of love became a lasting legacy for his family. He decided to leave a tangible reminder of his presence for his grandchildren by imprinting his handprints on the walls of his home.
That's so sweet. It's like a built-in hug from Grandpa, even when he's not there. But honestly, I'd be a little freaked out if I saw random handprints on my walls.
Right. It's definitely a bit unconventional, but the sentiment behind it is pure gold. What started as a personal gesture resonated with people worldwide, inspiring others to find creative ways to express their love and leave behind lasting reminders of their presence for loved ones. It tapped into this universal desire to leave a positive mark on the world, to create something that will outlive us.
Okay, that one's definitely going on my things to ponder list.
Yeah.
Not sure about the handprints, but the idea of creating a lasting legacy, that's powerful, right? It's like proof that our actions can ripple through time even after we're gone.
And speaking of leaving a positive mark on the world, let's head to Los Angeles, where a former gang member named Marcus found redemption and purpose thanks to the unwavering belief of a mentor.
Ah, the classic redemption arc. I'm a sucker for those, but I'm guessing this is more than just a feel-good movie plot.
You bet. Marcus's story showcases the transformative power of mentorship and second chances. His mentor saw potential where others saw only a troubled past, providing guidance and support that allowed Marcus to break free from the cycle of violence and pursue his dreams.
It's like proof that everyone deserves a chance to rewrite their story, right? But it also makes you wonder, how many potential Marcuses are out there just waiting for someone to believe in them?
That's the million-dollar question. And it highlights the responsibility we all have to be sources of support and encouragement for those around us. Sometimes all it takes is one person to make a world of difference.
Okay, I'm officially inspired. What other heartwarming tales of human resilience do you have up your sleeve? I'm ready for another dose of optimism.
All right, let's venture to Toronto, where a group of women from diverse cultural backgrounds came together to create a masterpiece of unity and inclusivity. They call it the Unity Quilt.
A quilt? That's surprisingly wholesome, even for this deep dive.
Don't underestimate the power of textiles. Each patch of this quilt represents a different cultural heritage, woven together to create this stunning visual representation of the beauty of diversity.
So it's like a tangible symbol of their shared humanity, celebrating both their differences and their common threads.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that our differences are what make us unique, and that by embracing those differences, we can create something truly extraordinary. And it speaks to the power of collaborative art to foster understanding and break down barriers.
All right, you've officially converted me. I'm a believer in the power of quilts and kindness and, the whole shebang. What's our final stop on this global tour of heartwarming stories?
Let's end our journey in Seoul, where a simple act of silent support touched the hearts of countless students facing a nerve-wracking experience: college entrance exams.
Oh.
Picture this. An elderly man standing outside the examination hall, silently clapping and offering words of encouragement to each student as they entered.
Oh, okay, that one got me. It's like he understood the pressure they were under and just wanted them to know he was rooting for them, I think.
Yeah.
Simple, yet so powerful.
Exactly. It's a testament to the profound impact of small gestures, proving that we don't need grand pronouncements or elaborate acts to make a difference in someone's life. Sometimes a silent presence, a knowing look, a simple clap can be enough to offer comfort and strength.
Wow. What a whirlwind of emotions. We've gone from Kenya to Melbourne, Italy to New York, Rio to Cornwall, Japan to LA, Toronto to Seoul, all in the name of celebrating the human spirit. I'm exhausted, but in a good way.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? And this is just a glimpse into the vast tapestry of kindness and connection that exists in the world, you know? Imagine all the stories that haven't been shared, all the quiet acts of generosity happening every day, unnoticed but no less impactful. It's enough to restore your faith in humanity, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. I came into this deep dive expecting a sugar rush of like heartwarming stories.
Yeah.
But I'm walking away with a whole new appreciation for the complexities of human behavior and the ripple effects of even the smallest acts of kindness.
Yeah.
It's like I always knew kindness was important, but now I understand why.
Yeah, it's like we peeled back the layers of all these like feel-good stories and we found like some serious intellectual meat underneath.
Right. And it makes you realize that even a platform like X, which, often gets a bad rap for all the negativity and superficiality, can actually be a really powerful tool for spreading positivity and showcasing the best of humanity.
It's all about like curation, right? Like we curated this collection of stories from like the vast sea of content on X.
Right.
And in doing so, we've created this space where like kindness and connection take center stage.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground geographically and emotionally.
I have.
What stands out to you as particularly impactful or surprising? Like any stories that really got you thinking?
I keep coming back to Mama Mina and that community food sharing system in Kenya. Like it's a perfect example of what sociologists call like social capital, you know?
Yeah.
The networks of relationships and trust that hold a community together. And Mama Amina's generosity wasn't just about the food. It was about strengthening those bonds of reciprocity and mutual support.
Ah, so it's like kindness as an investment in the community's well-being, sort of like a social safety net, but built on like good vibes instead of government bureaucracy.
Precisely. And it highlights how acts of kindness can have these long-term benefits, you know, like creating a more resilient and connected society.
I'm also struck by the stories that deal with like intergenerational connection. Signor Rossi teaching those immigrant kids, the grandpa leaving his handprints for his grandkids, that elderly man cheering on the students in Seoul. It's like a reminder that kindness transcends age.
It's about recognizing the value of each generation and understanding that we all have something to learn from each other.
Yeah.
The young can teach the old about, technology and new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And the old can offer, wisdom and perspective and a sense of historical continuity. Like it's a beautiful exchange when it works well.
And then there's that whole theme of like leaving a legacy, which really got me thinking, right?
Yeah.
The message in a bottle, the handprints on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like these people found a way to extend their love and influence, like beyond their immediate presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like this human impulse to connect across time and space, to leave behind something meaningful that'll outlive us. And it doesn't have to be some grand monument or world-changing invention. It can be as simple as a shared story or a piece of advice or a cherished tradition passed down through generations.
Okay, so we've talked about social capital, intergenerational connections, and leaving a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Any other big takeaways from this deep dive into kindness?
One thing that keeps popping up is the power of anonymity. That grocery store angel in New York, the people responding to the message in a bottle, they didn't need any public recognition for their actions.
Yeah, it's like pure kindness, unfiltered by the need for praise or social media likes.
Exactly. And it challenges this notion that we need to be publicly acknowledged for our good deeds. Like true kindness often flourishes in the shadows, motivated by empathy and compassion rather than the desire for attention.
That's a humbling thought. Makes you wonder if maybe we're too obsessed with self-promotion these days. Missing out on the simple joy of doing something good for someone else without expecting anything in return.
It's a good reminder to check our motives, right? Are we helping others because it makes us feel good? or because we genuinely care about their well-being.
Deep thoughts for a podcast about heartwarming stories. But seriously, this whole deep dive has gotten me thinking about my own role in all of this.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, but also a little overwhelming. Like, where do I even begin?
Well, I think the key is to start small, Don't get bogged down by the enormity of the world's problems, right? Just focus on what you can do within your own sphere of influence.
Okay, so instead of trying to solve world hunger, maybe I just need to be more mindful of the people around me. Like, hold the door open for someone, offer a genuine compliment, actually listen when a friend's venting about their day.
Exactly. Those small acts of kindness might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
but they can have a ripple effect, creating a more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
And maybe I'll finally get around to volunteering at that local animal shelter I've been meaning to check out.
See, you're already brainstorming. It's all about taking that initial spark of inspiration and translating it into action, however small it may seem.
Okay, I'm feeling empowered.
Uh-huh.
Bring on the kindness revolution. But before we launch our global campaign of good deeds, let's go back to some of these stories and see if there are any hidden gems we missed.
I'm always up for a good treasure hunt. What caught your attention?
Well, I keep thinking about that story about Marcus, the former gang member who turned his life around thanks to a mentor. It's like a classic example of the transformative power of belief, Someone saw potential in him when others only saw his past mistakes.
It's a powerful reminder that everyone has the capacity for change, given the right support and guidance, and it highlights the importance of mentorship, of investing in the next generation and believing in their ability to create a better future.
It also makes you wonder, like, what if we all had someone like that in our lives?
Yeah.
Someone who truly believed in us and pushed us to be our best selves.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? And maybe, just maybe, we can all strive to be that person for someone else, offering encouragement, guidance, and a listening ear when needed.
I love that. It's like paying it forward, but on a deeper level.
And speaking of paying it forward, let's revisit that story about the Unity quilt in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's not just a beautiful piece of art. It's a powerful symbol of inclusivity and the strength that comes from embracing diversity.
Yeah, it's like a visual representation of the idea that we're stronger together, that our differences are what make us interesting and vibrant as a society.
And it reminds us that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable world, where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. A lot of these stories seem to be pointing towards this idea of a collective action, of recognizing our interconnectedness and working together to create a better world.
Yeah, it's like we're all threads in this giant tapestry of humanity. And the more we weave our individual threads of kindness and compassion into the fabric, the stronger and more beautiful it becomes.
Oh, that's a beautiful analogy. I'm definitely stealing that one. But I have to admit, as inspiring as all of this is, part of me still feels a bit cynical. Like, can a handful of heartwarming stories really make a difference in the face of all the negativity and division in the world?
It's a valid question. Yep. And I think the answer lies in how we choose to engage with these stories, right? Do we just consume them passively, feeling this momentary surge of warmth and then just moving on? Or do we allow them to spark something deeper within us, like a desire to act, to contribute, to be part of the solution? So
it's not enough to just feel good about these stories. We need to translate that feeling into action.
Precisely, and that's where the real magic happens, when we allow these stories to inspire us to be more kind, more compassionate, more engaged in our communities. That's when we start to see real change.
Oh, challenge accepted. But I have to ask, what about all the bad stuff happening in the world?
Yeah,
the wars, the famines, the political turmoil. Can kindness really make a dent in all of that?
It's easy to get overwhelmed by the scale of global problems and to feel powerless in the face of suffering. But I believe that even in the darkest of times, acts of kindness and compassion can serve as beacons of hope.
Yeah.
reminding us of our shared humanity and our capacity for love and connection.
So it's not about ignoring the problems or pretending everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's about like choosing to focus on the the good, even amidst the chaos, right?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, creating a more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
Exactly. It's like planting seeds of hope and watching them grow, one act of kindness at a time.
Okay. I'm officially on board with this whole kindness revelation.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, is there anything else that surprised you about these stories? Anything that made you think differently about human nature or the power of connection?
One thing that really struck me was how many of these stories involved people going above and beyond, like stepping outside their comfort zones to help others. Like Mama Amina sharing her last harvest, that anonymous grocery shopper in New York, those volunteers building the library in Rio, like they all made sacrifices, big or small, to make a difference.
It's like they recognized the need and felt compelled to act, even if it meant like putting themselves out there, risking rejection or discomfort.
It challenges this notion that we're inherently selfish creatures,
Right.
driven solely by self-preservation. Like these stories suggest that we have this innate capacity for empathy and altruism, a willingness to help others even when it costs us something.
Like deep down, we all want to be the hero of our own story. And
Yeah.
sometimes that means being the hero in someone else's story too.
And that brings us back to that fundamental question. What kind of world do we want to live in? A world where everyone's just looking out for themselves, or a world where we recognize our interconnectedness and support each other through acts of kindness, big or small.
I know which world I'd rather live in.
Right.
But the big question is how do we make that happen? How do we turn this warm, fuzzy feeling into something concrete, something that actually makes a difference?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I don't think there's a single answer, a magic formula for creating a kinder world. But I do believe it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Recognizing that our actions, however small they are, have an impact on the world around us.
So it's about being more mindful of our everyday interactions. Like instead of just, going through the motions, actually seeing the people around us and looking for opportunities to connect, offer a helping hand, a kind word, a genuine smile.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from self-preservation to connection, from competition to collaboration. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, and by supporting each other, we
Right.
create a more positive and fulfilling experience for everyone.
Yeah, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. It's not just about doing, like, nice things for people. It's about, like, cultivating a mindset of kindness, like a way of being in the world that prioritizes empathy and compassion.
And that mindset can be contagious.
Oh, yeah.
When we act with kindness, it inspires others to do the same. It creates a ripple effect that can spread far beyond our immediate circle.
So it's like we have the power to create a kindness pandemic.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that, but I have to be honest. There are days when I'm just not feeling it.
Right.
Yeah. Days when I'm stressed and overwhelmed, and the last thing I want to do is be nice to anyone. Any advice for those days?
I think it's important to acknowledge that we're all human and we all have our off days.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be perfectly kind all the time, but
Yeah.
even on those tough days, we can make a conscious effort to choose kindness over negativity.
Okay, so instead of snapping at the barista who messed up my order,
Yeah.
maybe I just take a deep breath and remember that they're probably having a rough day too.
Exactly. And you might even find that extending a little bit of grace to others actually makes you feel better in the process.
Okay, I'm definitely up for trying that. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final, slightly selfish question.
Go for it.
What's in it for me? Like, besides feeling all warm and fuzzy inside, are there any actual benefits to being a kinder person?
You're asking the right questions. And the answer is a resounding yes.
Okay.
Studies have shown that people who practice kindness regularly experience a whole range of benefits, from increased happiness and well-being to reduced stress and anxiety.
So being kind is actually good for your health. Sign me up.
It's like a win-win situation.
Yeah.
You get to make the world a better place and reap the rewards of a happier, healthier life.
I like the sound of that. Well, I think we've officially cracked the code to a happier, kinder world. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm feeling inspired to spread the love. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we sign off?
If you're feeling inspired by these stories, don't let that feeling fade. Take action. Choose kindness in your everyday interactions. Look for opportunities to help others too, to offer support, to spread joy. And remember, even the smallest acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, making the world a brighter, more connected place.
Beautifully said. And if you're looking for a little extra motivation, we encourage you to share your own stories of kindness on X using the hashtag #KindnessRipple. Let's create a global wave of positivity and show the world the power of human connection.
It's been a joy diving deep into these heartwarming stories with you.
And to you, dear listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope these stories have touched your hearts and inspired you to embrace the power of kindness in your own lives. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep diving deep.